It's 25 musicians who went sometimes a little crazy with fame. I'm John Bowden. This is Rock History Book. We're talking stories of psychological unraveling. Especially sometimes the scariest thing you can have is everything you ever wanted in life and you feel the same way inside after having all of that. It doesn't fill you. Here's some artists we want to talk about. Syd Barrett, Pink Floyd's original leader. He penned early psychedelic classics like See Emily Play and Arnold Layne. But as the piper at the gates of dawn made them the face of London's underground, Barrett was falling apart. Acid fried his brain, and success only deepened his alienation. He'd show up on stage to play only one chord or with his back to the audience. And sometimes he didn't show up at all. The band quietly replaced him, and Syd spent the rest of his life as a recluse. Fame had opened the door, but madness walked in. By the way, of course, David Gilmour famously replaced him. Brian Wilson of the Beach Boys, the genius mind that gave us Good Vibrations, God Only Knows, and their masterpiece, Pet Sounds. But after attempting the ambitious album Smile, he cracked. Terrified of failure and obsessed with perfection, he withdrew, hearing voices and refusing to leave his bed for years. The same mind that created musical beauty couldn't cope with the pressure of outdoing himself. Fame made him feel like a puppet, but eventually those strings seemed to snap. Axl Rose of Guns N' Roses. When Appetite for Destruction dropped in 1987, it was like all things came together in rock. Axl Rose became rock's most electrifying frontman with Welcome to the Jungle and Sweet Child of Mine. But success turned him paranoid, controlling, and very unpredictable. He delayed concerts for hours, attacked bandmates, and locked himself away for years, obsessed with an album that would finally be released, Chinese Democracy. Fame gave him power, and he built a fortress, surround himself with it. You knew this was coming, of course, Michael Jackson. From Thriller to Bad to Dangerous, Michael Jackson conquered the world. But behind the sparkle glove and moonwalk was a man slowly unraveling. Multiple plastic surgeries, reclusive behavior, a pet chimp named Bubbles, and the Neverland Ranch became symbols of someone trying to reclaim lost childhood. But despite becoming the biggest star on Earth, he felt more isolated than ever. Fame didn't make him weird. It amplified every insecurity until he disappeared behind that mask. Kurt Cobain of Nirvana. The album Nevermind launched Nirvana into superstardom, but it was everything Cobain didn't want. He hated fame and hated being misinterpreted and turned to heroin as a coping mechanism. Songs like Heart-Shaped Box and All Apologies were veiled cries for help. In the end, the kid from Aberdeen got everything he dreamed of, and it still didn't fill him. Kurt Cobain died of suicide at 27. Yes, joining the famous 27 Club. And he wrote that he no longer felt excited about playing music. Taylor Hawkins of Foo Fighters. The hard-hitting drummer for Foo Fighters, Taylor Hawkins powered hits like Best of Me and Everlong. But fame brought him immense pressure, especially when stepping out as a frontman in his own side projects. He overdosed in 2001 and later admitted to struggling with demands of being the party guy. In 2022, while touring in South Africa, he died suddenly, reportedly with multiple substances in his system. Sometimes, when you're everyone's sunshine, there's no room left to deal with your own storms. Whitney Houston, the darling of many hits, most notably Dolly Parton's I Will Always Love You. That song turned her into the queen of ballads. But Whitney's life was a tragedy unfolding in slow motion. Fame thrust her into an impossible standard. Flawless voice, squeaky clean image. But underneath was a woman spiraling into drug abuse and toxic relationships, reality shows, erratic interviews, and heartbreaking live performances that showed that she wasn't what she used to be. But it showed someone trying to find joy in a world that only demanded more. She died in a hotel room, her voice silenced by the weight of expectations. Jim Morrison of The Doors. Morrison's lyrics like In the End and Riders on the Storm were kind of prophetic, apocalyptic visions from a rock messiah. But the Lizard King seemed drunk on freedom. He exposed himself on stage, taunted police, and drifted deeper into addiction. In 1971, he moved to Paris to escape it all, and he died in a bathtub, yes, at the age of 27. He got everything he dreamed of: fame, sex, poetry, but not peace. Lauryn Hill, her debut album, The Miseducation of Lauryn Hill, won 5 Grammys and changed R&B forever. But success made her feel owned. She walked away from the spotlight. Really, she only recorded 1 studio album, later claiming the industry was spiritually aggressive. Her concerts became chaotic, late, her behavior increasingly erratic. She was jailed for tax evasion, rarely gave interviews, and lashed out at fame like it betrayed her. Maybe it did. Now, Lauryn Hill is very much alive. As of this taping, when she was with the Fugees, there was their remake of Killing Me Softly in 1996, Fugila from the same year, and Ready or Not, another major hit from the album The Score. The band The Fugees broke up in 1997. Phil Spector, the mastermind, the man, well, we all say the same thing, but I'll say it, the wall of sound. The mastermind behind Be My Baby and You've Lost That Lovin' Feeling. Became a recluse obsessed with guns and paranoia. He once held a pistol to Leonard Cohen's head. And soon people started seeing that Phil Spector was really building a wall around himself. In 1973, while recording with John Lennon on the Rock and Roll album, the session quickly fell into chaos and he shot a gun, the bullet going right by John Lennon's head. In 2003, he shot actress Lana Clarkson. Convicted of murder, he died in prison. Fame turned his talent into delusion. Ozzy Osbourne. From Paranoid to Crazy Town. From Black Sabbath to a very successful solo career. Ozzy lived up to the title. After biting a bat's head off, snorting ants, and trying to kill his wife while blacked out drunk, he became a walking reality show. I mean, the family had a reality show. But decades of substance abuse left him with tremors, memory issues, and barely functioning speech. Ozzy died July 22nd, 2025. He was 76. He wanted to be a god and later became a ghost. Amy Winehouse. Amy's the one who sang Rehab but couldn't escape the need to go. Back to Black made her a global icon, but her pain was real and raw. Paparazzi were documenting every struggle. With every picture you saw of Amy Winehouse, she started looking worse and worse. Every drink, every fall, and her voice aged decades faster than her body. She died at 27, with empty vodka bottles at her feet. All awards and praises couldn't really save her. The king of rock, Elvis Presley. Elvis was the true first global pop star, with hits like Hound Dog, Jailhouse Rock, Can't Help Falling in Love. But by the 1970s, he became isolated and lived in Graceland. He was bloated from pills and paranoia. He had everything, but felt trapped by his image. And he died on his toilet in 1977. There was almost a weird juxtapose when he passed away. People who had written him off, who had seen him in concert sometimes and thought, well, he's still got the Elvis thing going on. But I'm also sad watching him on stage. They were quickly reminded how amazing he really was, how he changed the face of rock. And people whispered on how fame had eaten him alive. I've been saying this for years. You probably have too. What's the worst thing that could happen to someone when they get everything they want? And we're not ultimately saying all of these artists got everything they wanted. On some level, they got what most people would think is what everyone wants. And you're not any happier. People say geographic fixes don't work because you take the problem with you. It's you. Here's a corny line. Neil Sedaka in the mid-70s. You got to make your own sunshine. Well, ultimately, it's not based on fame or how many friends you have, right? These are all cliches we've heard 1,000 times, or how much money you have. I asked Ian Anderson once, how'd you write all those great songs? He said, well, going back to the hotel room when everyone else was partying, I'd go to the hotel room and suffer from sheer boredom and I'd write my songs. Because he wanted to fill his mind with something or at least be creative. Was he doing it because he was escaping his demons? Maybe a little bit, but he certainly survived. I use him as an example because what do we do when we go back to the hotel room? So many artists talk about that. You know, they have 25,000 people screaming at them. Then they go back to a hotel room if they don't party or if they can't party or if they party too much the night before. Fame is a weird thing. Be careful what you ask for, right? I'm John Bowden. This is Rock History Music. Take care.